Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the second episode of the Real Time Retrospective podcast. So, here's the thing I didn't want episode 2 to be about the subject that I'm covering here, but due to time constraints, I had to make it episode 2. But still, getting it out of my system creatively and hopefully sharing you some great content that you can enjoy and giving you my expressions and opinions about it. Um, so what I'm looking at today, hold on here. Other than my OBS studio, which is Streamlabs, uh, what we're going to look at, and you can find this in the playlist. It's right here in my public playlist on my profile. We're gonna look at it's in the 2001 A Year of Wrestling Change profile. We're gonna look at the WWE Royal Rumble 2001, and it is the OSW review number 47. Pardon me, there's a hair on my computer. I have a cat. Shit's everywhere. More. Anyway, yeah, I can't show you any clips, and actually, I tried uploading the video and watching this, like having like a reaction, and I just got flagged with a lot of copyright claims. So this is a roundabout way of doing this. So yeah, I actually enjoyed watching this. It was really, really fun. But what I'm gonna do is, even though I have my notes, I'm gonna go here to a great source. Great database. Yeah, Cage Match Internet Wrestling Database. It's a great database for promos, great database for information. There really isn't any photos, but really in depth about promotions and stuff like that. But remember, it is case sensitive, so I'm just gonna type in. Watch 2000 Royal Rumble. Hopefully, it'll come up. I just like having these as uh, shoot. I'm gonna have to go this way. I just like having this on screen as a backup. It's pretty good in case I miss something. It's just great. You got news and rumors, articles, history, event statistics, results, titles, roster, match guide, win-loss records, wrestling games. Every bit of tidbit you can think of. So, as stated, we're gonna look at the. You think I could spell, eh? There we are. And remember, it is very much case sensitive, almost like a wiki. You almost have to use uh, most all caps just to make sure. So, yeah, so we're looking at the WWF Royal Rumble 2001, which took place January 21st, 2001, from World Wrestling Federation. It was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it was in the New Orleans Arena, and the attendance was 17,137. And commentary was by Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, and had a pay-per-view buy rate of 1.35, and that was still good business. There are more tidbits here, but yeah. So, talking about this review and some of the interesting observations that the guys made here. First, I want to tell you that at the beginning you will see a promo for ICW On Demand and Square Circle T-shirts, and I will link I will link such things in the description below, and I'll also link this cage match internet wrestling database. It's just great to use if you want any tidbit on anything. And seeing that there are promos, and I do have, I know a trusted source of a soundboard, I might do some wrestling promos someday soon. But to go on, there are 3 hosts. Now, I couldn't catch all their names. I know one of them humorously is called Steve, but I couldn't remember all the names. So to the OSW review, for context, I'm just gonna call you the lads, and I hope if you see this, you guys find that hilarious and maybe use that going forward. So as this review goes on, and they're talking about this pay-per-view here, there's also an excellent tribute theme to Limp Bizkit's My Way. It's done in that style, and the lyrics are, "It was acceptable at the time. Acceptable at the time." It's pretty cool. So if I could find a link to that song, I will link it definitely. So the lads do recap the wrestling landscape and business of the big 3 in 2001, and that involved the WWF, now known as the WWE, WCW, and ECW. They also highlight the importance of Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley, and Triple H in the WWF, as in context of storyline wise. They also talk about the mid card, and they do emphasize the importance also of Kurt Angle and the tag teams and tag team matches, particularly TLCs, which is tables, ladders, and chairs, which involved Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and Matt and Jeff Hardy. So, what else? When the review starts, they do allow you hear the voice of, "And now the WWF proudly presents," or whoever their sponsor was, "WWF Royal Rumble." And I miss that original voiceover guy. Like, I remember that voice distinctly. And I would just be like, man, I love that voice. And now they've changed it since then. And no disrespect, because I'm a voice actor as well. I haven't done anything yet, but fingers crossed. But when you have a particular voice and you're good, and it's striking, and it's like, ooh, it's getting me pumped. You want to hear it. And now that you don't have it anymore, it's like kind of missing it. So I've mentioned this, but I'll re-mention it again. So it does take place from the New Orleans Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana. Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler are on commentary. Attendance is a sellout. They don't actually have attendance here on this database. But anyway, attendance is a sellout with 16,000, with 16,000. Excuse me. Well, close to 17,000. There's 16,056 in the arena. 13,481 paid, and 2,575. These are tickets. They were complimentary. I'm surprised WWE gave out a lot of tickets that were complimentary. They probably do it a lot now. The total gate was $6,666.700. Well, I'm not good at numbers. You can tell. $6,666.700. That's the total gate. Average ticket price at this time in 2001 was almost $50 at $49.05. $93,253 were spent on merchandise alone. Number of pay-per-view buys, according to the OSW, and I don't know where they're getting their information, but if I dig a little deeper, I will. 6,200, 6,2,500, 625,000. Excuse me. Again, I suck at numbers. But you watch the video and they tell you exactly. Maybe next time I'll just let them say the numbers and stuff and stats. I really suck at saying numbers. I do. So anyway, opening match is the Dudley Boys versus Edge and Christian for the WWF Tag Titles, and Edge and Christian are the champs. The main storyline is that the Dudleys are competing with concussions, and that's something that would not fly today. You won't see a concussion-based storyline at all, given what we know about CTE. So, and for context, Edge and Christian became champions for the fourth and fifth time in the midst of the WWF hot potatoing the belts on teams featuring main event players the previous year. And this match takes place between TLC 1 and TLC 2. And it's a great opener overall. Great chemistry. They even acknowledge it. And I mean, any match that involves Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and to an extension it features the Hardy Boys or Matt and Jeff, or a combination of any of those teams at that time. Spectacular. They were just awesome matches. You were never ever bored. So then the Dudleys win the WWF Tag Team titles. It's their second reign. Their first, this was a long time since, because their first reign was at No Way Out 2000 against the New Age Outlaws. It's almost a full year, and that pay-per-view took place in February. So yeah, had they won it at the next event, it would have been a full year since they've won the tag belts. A lot of this stuff about reigns and stuff I got from their videos, so it's a good thing I made note of that. There's a pre-tape backstage segments are shown after this match, so get ready, folks. Future WWE Hall of Famer inductee, Celebrity Wing, Drew Carey stops by to plug his improv pay-per-view. Vince McMahon tells Michael Cole that Austin is in the Rumble, and Triple H gets his WWF title match against Kurt Angle. Drew Carey meets Stephanie McMahon and Triple H backstage and admits he hasn't watched WWF programming. Which, why would you do that? That's kind of a slap in the face. And they even mentioned it. They're like, why would they have him do that? Yeah. They go on to say that Stephanie McMahon is hot, but I personally prefer Trish Stratus, and I don't care if she's blonde or brunette, and maybe it's the Canadian in me because she's also Canadian. But yeah, I found between Stephanie and Triple H, or Stephanie and Trish Stratus, I found Trish Stratus more attractive, and I didn't care how she looked. That's just me. Don't get me wrong, Stephanie McMahon is a looker. And she's married to Triple H, so he's a very lucky man. But I like Trish Stratus a little bit more. So then, Vince McMahon encourages Drew Carey to enter the Royal Rumble match, as it will be great for his improv pay-per-view, and it will also impress Trish Stratus, who he was flirting with. And then Steph and Trish, who are in a feud together, have a war of words. And then the lads, they talk boob size, which is hilarious. And this leads to a clip of Eric Bischoff telling Linda McMahon she's a big-breasted woman and kissing her. This is a few years later. It's just jeepers. It's just a funny segment, especially in this review. And then next we have you could almost argue and say this is match of the night. But we have Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental title in a ladder match. Benoit is the champ, and Benoit had beaten Billy Gunn at Armageddon 2000 to become champion. I want to mention that there are brutal chair shots and a lot of interesting use of the ladder throughout the match. But there are two chair shots I want to mention. During the build up to this matchup, I remember, and they even show it in a clip briefly in the build up on the match on the pay per view. And Jericho even talked about it on Chris Benoit's Dark Side of the Ring um, episode. He elaborated on what he had to do, and then they cut to this. And so in the feud, Jericho and Benoit are brawling backstage, and then all of a sudden Jericho gets trapped in the back in the arena under like where the trucks would come, so trailer door, of course, and he's laying there on the ground. He's trapped, and Benoit just grabs a chair, whack, like right over his head. And Jericho already said, when you had to take a chair shot, you just, bite your teeth down, and grin and bear it, and just take it. And looking back on it, I'm hoping Jericho is gonna do okay, and he's gonna go like when the time comes and he has to go, he goes peacefully. But ay. And then during this match, Chris Benoit goes for a dive outside the ring to try and catch Jericho, but Jericho's right there with the chair, just whack right here, right there. And watching it, it's just hard to watch. It's hard to watch when you know about CTE and you see guys getting hit in the head, open chair shots. And I've watched enough wrestling matches where guys say, when we do that now, or they've done it, before CTE, put your hand up to protect yourself and protect your head. Maybe hurting your hand, but still, it's a way. But a lot of guys just take it for effect, create that emotion. But really, you see any of these chair shots during this match in particular, it's tough to watch. And I've said this even in the previous episode with the Ming versus Terry Funk versus Crowbar match that WCW Sin 2001. Even if you're a football fan and now you know about CTE, you go back, you watch these guys get hit, and you're like, it is hard to watch. But is this a good match? Yes. Also, another interesting note about lead-ups. Chris Jericho had cut Dr. Seuss style promo on Benoit. I'll fight him on a boat. I'll fight him on a goat. They show a clip of it. It's hilarious. Benoit also cut a promo on Jericho on a ladder. Don't know why they even talk about it. The lads talk about it, and I go, and they're like, why are they having Chris Benoit be on a ladder? He's just a tough guy. I don't know why they had him on a prop. It is what it is. But in the end, Jericho beats Benoit and becomes the new IC champ. And Benoit does sell his struggles well, like trying to catch Jericho or trying to come back on offense throughout the match. So, yeah, definitely match of the night. And this at the time was Jericho's fourth reign as Intercontinental Champion. Now we cut to, I'm just making sure I have everything. Now we cut to backstage again. Drew Carey gets ring gear from Harvey Whippleman, and he quietly insults Kane when Kane walks by. Kane just blows him off without shaking his hand. And I said, blows him off without shaking his hand. Don't get your head in a gutter. And if it is, get out. So, then Lowdown, which is a team of Chaz, who used to be Headbanger Mosh as the Headbangers, and D'Lo Brown, who are they make up the team Lowdown, and their manager is Tiger Ali Singh, who I was surprised was still employed by the WWF at this time. Because I remember him being in the part of the Attitude Era in like 98, 99. I didn't realize that once we got into the 2000s, he was there still. So go figure. But sometimes people get lost in the shuffle, and then you even realize you're like, oh, he's still there? Huh. So Lowdown, they're arguing about which member of their tag team, will enter the Rumble. Vince McMahon comes by and tells them that they have been replaced by Drew Carey, but they don't know who Drew Carey is. And they actually had beaten Kaientai on Sunday Night Heat to earn the opportunity. Yeah. And for context, Sunday Night Heat used to be the lead-in show for pay-per-views, and it also used to be like the show where those who were coming up or those who weren't on main TV would go to have matches, and it was also a recap show. And for the time, it was pretty cool. Eventually, it just became, I think after 2000, it kind of became that kind of meh show. So, but still, it served its purpose for a while. And now, in this day and age, we just have pre-shows without matches. But it is what it is. Also backstage, APA shows each other's Rumble numbers, argues over who will win, and they are noticeably wearing their always pounding ass t-shirts. And the lads are like, what a terrible t-shirt. But I will take it over the other t-shirt they mentioned. And it's better than this cum stain AJ Styles TNA era t-shirt they show. And I'm just looking at it. And I'm going, I get the APA always pounding ass. Little innuendo. Not exciting. Why? But I'll take it over that AJ Styles shirt any day of the week. I would wear it with pride. Then, for the WWF World Women's title, we have Chyna versus Ivory, and Ivory is the champ. Billy Gunn tells Chyna backstage he's worried about her, and the storyline is Chyna is dealing with a neck injury caused by right to censor after she received a spike pile driver. That was done by RTC member, which stands for Right to Censor, Val Venus. And of course, Ivory, after that, she's over her, giving her what for. Right to Censor has an annoying theme. All it is emergency noises, like smoke alarm going off, air sirens. It is purposely annoying storyline, like for their characters, but it sucks. It sucks. I will never, ever, ever. I don't even want to hear it. And if someone said there's a 30-hour video of it, how long can you last? I wouldn't even do the 30 hours. I'd do 1 minute and be like, I'm done. I don't care if you're throwing up $1 million. I'm done. So, and they are, and another thing about Right to Censor is they're a parody. They're WWF's parody of the PTC, which is the Parents Television Council. They had issues with WWF programming at this time, like from the Attitude Era, which started in '98, like took off in '98. Yeah, they've had problems. Stevie Richards is like their leader. So, so much like Cyrus the Virus in ECW and Vince Russo's standards and practices in WCW, he leads the group to bring forth morality, like have some moral decency and have some, let's get rid of this filth and stuff. And it's just you hate him and you hate that damn theme. So yeah, so that's what it is. I kind of like when wrestling companies parry some type of external authority figure in corporate. You know, it's fun. I find it fun. But I never liked Rights to Censor's theme. I never liked Rights to Censor. I didn't. I mean, I hated them when you were supposed to hate them. I got in the moment. I was like, oh, you bastards. But looking back on it, I didn't really care for the group. I saw them and I was like I knew some of who the members were, and I was just like, eh. After a while, I was like, whatever. Can't win them all. So then the storyline wise is the RTC hates that China posed for Playboy, and China's Playboy issue outsold Sables by 20%, over 1 million copies sold. And I was 13 at the time, and I would have bought a copy. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. 13-year-old kid watching wrestling, realizing that one of the most popular women at the time was in Playboy. Oh yeah, I'd buy that issue. Believe me, I would. So China had returned to the ring in 3 weeks' time, storyline wise, from her neck injury. In reality, by luck, serendipity can happen, but yeah, not lucky for a few. And all I can say about this match is that Ivory did her best to make China look good, and China sold having her injury well enough. That's really all I can say. There aren't many major highlights. The lads do a good job of pointing out some stuff. So with that, Ivory retains, of course, because she beat China and retains her belt title. But yeah, there's not much else to say. There's been a lot of wrestlers saying that. I mean, a lot of them were friends with her. Some of the women didn't like her. Some of the guys didn't like her. I mean, she did what she could. There was there were sometimes noticeable errors in her matches, but you know, anyone she worked with did their best to make her look like $1 million, and that's usually what you do in wrestling. Even if someone's lacking in one department, you do whatever you can to make them look good. And I kudos to Ivory for doing that. And may China rest in peace. I watched her. It wasn't a Dark Side of the Ring episode. It was a whole separate documentary, and I, I wish she would have gotten help and gotten better. But we all make our choices. So yeah. But I'm glad to see that she's in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. So she was a trailblazer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So then we cut to WWF New York in Times Square. It's their restaurant. It's no longer there. It wasn't. There's a documentary someone did about it, talking about it, and I haven't watched it yet, but when I do, I'll give my thoughts and opinion, of course, and I'll link the video in the description below. So, the WW at this restaurant. So the WWF asked fans who will win the WWF Championship match again, which is between Triple H and the champion Kurt Angle. But it does seem scripted. It really does. Then at this point in the review, it's time for an ad break. Ad break questionarium. And it features an ESPN ad with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I remember seeing. We don't get ESPN in Canada. We get TSN and ESPN, TSN. And I remember when WWF programming was on TSN, which is how we got it, because again, we don't have the USA Network, which is what the WWE is on. But yeah, I remember seeing it. And when you see the ad, if you remember it, you'll remember it quite well. It's the one where Steve Austin is sitting there, he's reading a book, and he's like, another one of the ESPN new sportscasters comes by, and he says, "Hey, Steve, what you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm studying, but I'm kind of getting tired." "Oh, I think I got just this thing." Whacks him with a chair in the back a couple times. He goes, "Oh, that helped," and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So yeah, so they apparently during their podcast they do an ad break questionarium, and I'm gonna let you enjoy the game. Just enjoy it. It was fun for me, so it should be fun for you. So next we have Triple H versus Kurt Angle for the WWF Championship. Angle is the champion, and Stephanie McMahon is in Triple H's corner, and Triple H is in Angle's corner. The storyline is, and as they mentioned, like it sounds convoluted when you explain it, but as it goes along, it makes sense. That's the beauty of wrestling. Sometimes there could be a convoluted storyline, but as you think about it step by step, it makes sense in the wrestling universe. So the storyline of this match is that Linda McMahon was running the WWF, and Mick Foley was commissioner of the WWF. Vince, Trish, Steph, and Triple H worked together to take back control of the WWF. Vince sends Linda into a coma after demanding he wants a divorce, or I should say, as Vince would say, a divorce. And then Steph and Triple H make a complaint against Foley for allowing wrestlers to be injured under his watch. They pretty much get other wrestlers to agree with them, mostly the heels, to be like, yeah, he did, make us get injured under his watch. So yeah, we'll help you file that complaint. And in the midst of all this, Vince and Trish are involved in an affair, and Trish is like his mistress. And this leads to Steph and Trish can't stand each other. Also, Kurt Angle has a thing for Steph. She's not interested because she is married to Triple H. And of course, this pisses off Triple H. And I'll let the lads elaborate more on the match, but I'll just say it is a great match between the two, despite there being storyline shenanigans involving basically Steph, Trish, and Vince. Shenanigans sometimes. Shenanigans. So yeah, and Kurt Angle retained his championship. So yeah. So then there's backstage hype for the Royal Rumble, and they show some of the participants. Lucky number 30 is Rikishi. There's Undertaker's shadowboxing, and we get an epic Rock promo with Kevin Kelly. And they play the whole promo. I'm surprised they didn't get that pulled for copyright claim, but yeah, we get that. And who doesn't like a good Rock promo, right? So then we get the the 30-man over-the-top Royal Rumble match is next, and this is the main event. And for context, at this time, there wasn't a huge female roster, so yes, there was still just the men were competing in the Royal Rumble. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you in context. So first off, and this took up a lot of notes, but I'm going to get through it here. Entrant number 1 is Jeff Hardy, and entrant number 2 is Right to Censor member Bull Buchanan. Entrant number 3 is Matt Hardy. Jeff and Matt do poetry in motion, then a double clothesline to eliminate Bull Buchanan. Matt and Jeff wrestle till entrant number 4, Farouk of the APA, comes out. There's a botched poetry in motion, and it hurts Matt's kidney. He's noticeably like grabbing his kidney, like, ow, Jeff, like, ow. There's a Swanton bomb from Jeff Hardy on Farouk, and Matt and Jeff eliminate Farouk. Eventually, Matt and Jeff take off their shirts, and the female fans go wild. They were hot at the time, so can you blame the ladies for going a little crazy? No, you can't. Entrant number 5 is Drew Carey, who comes out. And Matt and Jeff eliminate themselves after both fall off the top turnbuckle. So they practically did that to give Drew Carey his time to shine. But not for too long, because entrant number 6 is Kane. And Drew Carey tries to pay off Kane. Kane hits the money out of his hand, goes to chokeslam Drew. Entrant number 7, Raven, comes in, hits Kane with a kendo stick, and Drew Carey eliminates himself. And then pretty much a hardcore wrestling segment takes place. So we got entrant number 8, Al Snow and Raven use weapons under the ring and bring them into the ring to attack each other. And others, such as Kane, entrant number 9, Saturn, entrant number 10, Steve Blackman, and entrant number 11, Grandmaster Sexay, Brian Christopher, the late Grandmaster Sexay Brian Christopher, who is the son of Jerry the King Lawler. Kane eliminates Grandmaster Sexay after hitting him over the head with a trash can, and physics be damned. You will see that. Physics be damned. Kane also eliminates Blackman, Al Snow, Raven, and Saturn. And Kane has 5 eliminations at this point. And this Rumble is noticeable for the amount of eliminations Kane had at the time, which was a record. And you'll soon know what the record is as I go on here. This was also, and I didn't know this, but I'm glad the lads mentioned this. This was Grandmaster Sexay's last pay-per-view appearance. He was fired after being caught with drugs on himself at the Canadian border. And it's also the last pay-per-view appearance for Steve Blackman. He was teaming with Grandmaster Sexay and had replaced an injured Scotty 2 Hottie at the time, and was released the following year. At this point, he has a bounty hunter show, but there's no word on it. I even recently looked it up, see if there's anything else. Nothing. Not a darn thing, and I would love to see it. But we'll see what happens. So then entrant number 12 is the Honky Tonk Man, who is Jerry the King Lawler's cousin. Pew. I'm sure that's what some of you are. When I found that out years ago, I was like, really? Pew. So, he sings over his own vocals of his theme song. He gets hit over the head with his acoustic guitar by Kane, which is wicked, and it's eliminated. And up to this point, this is Kane's 6th elimination. Entrant number 13 is The Rock. Kane and The Rock wrestle. Number 14 is Right to Censor member The Good Father. Used to be The Godfather, now he's The Good Father. And he's quickly eliminated by The Rock's spit punch. Also, and I found this very entertaining. Kane's hair is at 20% frizz. Yes, it is at 20% frizz. Entrant number 15 is Taz, and you got to monetize when he's around, or at least try, okay? Kane gets his 7 elimination quickly by punching Taz. And at this point, Taz went from ECW main event player to the WWF as a jobber, but he would go on to delight us as a commentator for years to come. And if you were recently watching Botchamania, and anytime they do Taz's insipid commentary, it's hilarious. I get a kick out of it, as will you. And I didn't write this down, but I remembered it afterwards. I just remembered when he was in TNA, and he was with Mike Tenay doing commentary. And Mike Tenay says, "So, I hear you got a source." He goes, "Yeah, I got a reliable source." "Well, what kind of source do you have on the information you have?" "Oh, I can't tell you, but I have a reliable source." Mike Tenay goes, "Oh, hamina, hamina, hamina." And he goes, "Oh, yeah. Oh, you watch that show too?" Referencing the honeymooners, just, oh man. So Kane and The Rock wrestle again. An audience member dressed up as Right to Censor member is acting strange in the crowd as Kane and The Rock are wrestling. Like they mention it too, and before they mention it, I see the guy in the corner. I'm going, what the hell are you doing? Like, don't get me wrong. Everyone has a right to act the way they want to act, as long as you're not acting like an asshole to anyone around you, fellow fans. But the guy's just doing something weird, and it's just like, stop it, you know. Entrant number 16 is APA's Bradshaw. And the lads really slow the footage down to make a point of this, and it is noticeable. So The Rock gives a light clothesline to Kane, and Bradshaw just gives a stiff clothesline to The Rock, while Kane gives The Rock a semi-soft and semi-stiff clothesline. So as they say, somewhere in the middle. And then we have, in no short time, we have entrant number 17 is Albert, entrant number 18 is Hardcore Holly, entrant number 19 is K-Quick, entrant number 20 is Right to Censor member Val Venus, entrant number 21 is William Regal. And the ring is filling up with wrestlers at this point. And this usually happens around Rumbles. They segment stuff. So you had a hardcore wrestling segment. Now you have your traditional Royal Rumble segment. It's filling up. Who's gonna get thrown over when? Who's trying to throw over who? And also, Kane's hair is at 40% frizz. Entrant number 22 is Test. Test then eliminates William Regal. Entrant number 23 is The Big Show, and he had been in OVW, which is Ohio Valley Wrestling, which was WWF's training facility at the time. Big Show eliminates Test and K-Quick, and then he chokeslams everybody else in the ring at this point. The Rock stops Big Show from chokeslamming him by low-blowing Big Show and eliminating him with a clothesline. Entrant number 24 is Crash Holly. And back to the Big Show. He's a poor sport. He pulls The Rock out of the ring and chokeslams him on the ringside commentary team's desk. The Rock is not eliminated. You have to go over the top rope to be eliminated. If you go through the middle rope or you're pulled under the bottom, you're not eliminated. So, yes. Entrant number 25 is The Undertaker. And once The Undertaker gets in, Undertaker eliminates Bradshaw. Kane eliminates Crash Holly. That's his 8th elimination. Undertaker then eliminates Hardcore Holly. Kane eliminates Albert. That's his 9th elimination. And then Taker and Kane work together. Entrant number 26 is Scotty Twatty, who is hesitant to get in the ring. Don't blame him. You see The Undertaker and Kane, either fight or you run. But Undertaker ends up eliminating Val Venus. Kane's hair is now, at this point, 80% frizz. We get a double chokeslam to Scotty Tuhati, and then he's eliminated by Kane and Taker. Even with an assist, it's Kane's 10th elimination. And we're nearing the end here. So entrant number 27 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. The crowd goes nuts, as they should. The Rock is also slowly getting back up and working his way back into the ring. Just as Austin is walking his way to the ring with authority, Triple H attacks Stone Cold, and this is retaliation after Stone Cold attacked Triple H during his match previously. The Rock gets back in the ring. Austin blades immediately, and he has a crimson mask all over his face and head. Blading, if you don't know what it is, like it was even touched upon in Dr. Death episode of Dark Side of the Ring. For best reference point, I've heard of what it was for myself, but best reference point for you out there who's watching. If you watch the episode with Dr. Death, Steve, or not Dr. Death, Dr. D, Dr. No, well, oh God, I saw the whole series. Hang on, hold on. Real time here, folks. So yeah, this is series here, Dark Side of the Ring, season 3. It's either season. I think it was season. Ring episodes. This is where this comes in handy. David Schultz. Season 2, episode 7. Dave Schultz. It's talked about the what blading is. So blading is when you take a common razor blade, you split it into, and then you split it again, make it about that big or so, and you just go like that. I saw I was at a local wrestling event, and guy I think he got hit over the head with a chair, I'm pretty sure. But I noticed he went under the ring. From the angle I was at, he went into a toolbox, and obviously he grabbed the blade and did his thing. And yep, so that's what blading is. Entrant number 28 is Billy Gunn. Stone Cold is still out of the ring at this point. Entrant number 29 is returning Haku. He had just left WCW as their last hardcore champion. Entrant number 30 is the previously mentioned Rikishi. And as I said in the last review, I was going to elaborate a little bit more on this. So Haku, entrant number 29, what was known as Ming in WCW, had been working without a contract, actually, in WCW. And this explains why he was able to easily jump ship. He did give and I didn't know this, he gave the WCW Hardcore Championship title to his longtime tag partner, the Barbarian. As mentioned before, WCW made the belt inactive and immediately removed Ming's profile from their website. Goes to show you that they were done doing business. Rikishi and Austin end up brawling outside the ring, and then they work their way into the ring. I won't spoil it, but there's a reason why they're really brawling with each other. So then Austin punches and clotheslines Haku to eliminate him. Rikishi Savat kicks the Undertaker out of the ring, and Undertaker's eliminated. Rikishi is low blowed by The Rock, gets a forearm clothesline by The Rock, and is eliminated. And at this point, you hear The Undertaker rev up his bike and he leaves. And then Austin eliminates Billy Gunn. And after that, Kane's hair is officially at 100% frizz. And then Kane eliminates The Rock. This is his 11th elimination. And as I mentioned, this was the record at the time. No one came close till Roman Reigns, and I can't remember which Rumble year it was, but he ended up beating Kane's record by one. So it was 12. And then Austin clotheslines Kane, but before that he ends up hitting him with a couple brutal chair shots. But of course, Austin clotheslines Kane and wins not only the 30-man Royal Rumble match, but also a main event title shot at WrestleMania 17. And after this, the lads give a rundown of the Rumble wrap up and what happened on Raw after the Rumble. And to close out, there's bonus footage of Triple H's cameo on the Drew Carey show to sort of tie in how Drew Carey got there. So that is that on WWF Royal Rumble 2001. And that is all. Ooh, I'm moving too much, am I? Okay, I'm just going to move this over. So, yeah, that is that. And this is a really short episode today, under an hour. I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to let you guys know that, yes, updates are coming. I will have a proper webcam, proper lighting, microphone, so it doesn't sound like I'm shouting too much. But at this point, I want to thank anyone who's taking time out of their busy schedule to view this on their own time and enjoy the content that I provided. It really means a lot. And as I continue to grow this channel in my spare time, I can only be humbled by that. So, thank you very much. So, take care, be safe, and enjoy life. Take care. I will be back with episode 3, but it will be a totally different, it'll be separate from the playlist that I'm showing. I'm going to take a break from the playlist for a moment because I've come across 3 videos that I really want to talk about that are separate from this playlist. So anyways, yeah, take care.